Have you ever thought about how an average person can become a millionaire? Feel like it's not possible with a small income? Today, we're diving into this very question. Make sure to stick around with this video until the end. Ronald's life was a contradiction. He was a humble janitor with a hidden fortune. But how did he manage it? Can you figure out what his secret to success is? Visualize that your monthly revenue is a pie, and that each slice represents a different expense within your budget. Imagine for a moment that each time you cut a portion of your pie for the sake of saving, you are actually constructing a portion of your future wealth. Your future wealth will increase proportionately with the size of the slice. Not only is this an exercise in frugality, but it is also an art of strategic allocation. In the course of our investigation into Ronald's life, let us find out how he was able to transform his humble slices into a lavish feast of money. Are you prepared to find out how to maximize your growth by learning how to slice your revenue pie? Allow us to introduce you to Ronald's brilliant strategy. Do you want to learn how to save money wisely? Click the subscribe button to become a part of our group. If you think these ideas are helpful, don't forget to like this video. The value of disciplined saving and prudent investing may be illustrated by looking at a real-world example, so let's have a look there. Assume that you have a monthly income of $4,000. However, how far can it genuinely take you on your journey to prosperity, despite the fact that it sounds appealing? This is the point at which the Ronald strategy becomes applicable. Imagine that your income is a pie, and that the pieces of the pie reflect your expenses, which include things like your rent, your food, and your utilities. On the other hand, there is one slice that is frequently disregarded: the savings slice. What would happen if you, like Ronald, made the decision to live a little less extravagantly and put away 25% of your income, which is $1,000, for savings? There is a possibility that it will require giving up certain conveniences, such as choosing to eat dinner at home rather than going out to eat, or taking public transportation rather than driving one's own automobile. These relatively simple adjustments to your way of life can make a substantial contribution to your future prosperity. At this point, let us talk about the expansion of these savings. Saving $1,000 each month is equivalent to saving $12,000 annually. Put this money to work, however, and you will experience the true magic of finance. The assumption of a 7% annual return, which is a cautious estimate based on the performance of the stock market in the past, causes your financial condition to undergo significant transformations over the course of time. After a year, your $12,000 is worth $12,040. But we're not simply passing through. What happens after 5, 10, or even 20 years? Your savings don't just grow, they expand thanks to the miracle of compound interest. After 10 years, you're looking at more than $175,000 in savings from your paycheck, after accounting for investment returns. But, like Ronald did, let us think bigger. He didn't just save for a decade, he made it a habit for life. This diligent method can turn your $480,000 in saved income into well over $1 million over the course of 40 years. That's the beauty of compounding. The longer you leave it to work, the greater the rewards. Remember, this is dependent on keeping your savings rate and original investment return constant. What if you get a raise or can save a little more? What if your assets outperform expectations? The potential for expansion is significantly greater. Ronald demonstrated throughout his life that it wasn't about striking it rich suddenly. It was about consistent, disciplined saving and sensible investing over time. His strategy was straightforward but effective. Live within or below your means, save a considerable amount of your salary, and let compound interest work its magic. So, while we go through Ronald's story, consider your own income pie. How much do you save and invest? Is there anything you can cut to raise your savings? The path to riches does not necessitate a six-figure income. Rather, it necessitates discipline, patience, and wise financial decisions. Before you spend any money, if you do this for 40 years and assume a 7% average return on your investments, you will have acquired $650,000. Not quite $8 million, but a good start. If you are able to work for 50 years, compound interest will increase the investment to $3 million. To be honest, Ronald was not your typical frugal person. He used a safety pin on his jacket once the button was torn off to avoid buying a new jacket. He probably saved 20 or even 30% of his salary on a consistent basis. 20% of a janitor's salary invested for 40 years will grow to 1. Ronald was frugal and constantly invested. But what else did he do to create such a big fortune? Ronald used a unique investment strategy known as dividend stock investing, in which he invested in stocks and companies that paid dividends. It's a popular way to invest, and if done correctly, it may provide a significant annual return on your money. Dividends are one way for a firm to share its profits. With its shareholders, an initial payment you receive per share you own. With dividend stock investing, the objective is to reinvest the dividend that you receive, making your yearly investments expand over time. The effect is minimal at first, but given time, you will definitely feel the snowball effect. Some corporations are noted for increasing their dividend yield year after year, and these companies are known as dividend payers. Coca-Cola and Procter & Gamble are two aristocratic firms that have increased dividends every year for more than a century. Most investors fear bear markets and the psychological effects this can have when you see your investments fall day after day. It can be tough when your money falls 20%, 30%, or even 50%. But if you're a long-term investor seeking to build wealth, you should love and pray for bear markets. They're the best opportunities you'll ever get in your life to become rich during bear markets. Ronald was a long-term investor who leveraged bear markets to increase the value of his investments. Producing in overdrive, Ronald did not panic during recessions or bear markets. Instead, he invested more, saved more money, and took advantage of low prices to buy more shares of the companies he believed in. It is important to note that during today's market, we entered 2023 as a bear market facing a global recession. Many investors have lost a lot of money, and people are fearful. Others are terrified. Use the bear market to your advantage and purchase fantastic firms at a significant discount. We must emphasize that Ronald did lose money during bear markets from enterprises that did not survive. Ronald, for example, had a stake in Lehman Brothers, which went bankrupt during the 2008 financial crisis. The majority of Ronald's investments, however, were in other companies, and the companies that survived the recessions thrived in the years that followed. Reed's story demonstrates that anyone, regardless of income, can become a multi-millionaire if they are wise with their money and make sound financial decisions. If you want to become a multi-millionaire even if you have a low income, here are 3 takeaways from Ronald Reed's story. 1. Lives below your means. Spend less than you earn and invest the remainder. Consistent investment. 2. Buy dividend stocks and reinvest all dividends. This can be generalized to making sound investments. And 3. Use bear markets to your advantage, buy great companies at great prices. By following these principles, when you put these principles into practice, you too can generate wealth, regardless of the amount of money you make. Subscribe to our channel for additional insights, and make sure you don't miss our next video.